Today we're checking out this USB-C dock by Novu, and this is the 12-in-1 variant, and it is actually very high value for the price that it has, because I was actually surprised at how affordable this is and all the ports and value that you get out of this little device. Now, on one side, you will have 5 USB-A ports, and 2 of them are high speed. They support up to 10 gigabits per second each, and you get 3 USB-A ports that support only 2.0, but these are meant to be used with receivers such as your mouse, your keyboard, and maybe if you're using it in an office environment, you might have one of those laser and pointing devices that you use to advance or go back in your slides and your presentations. So this would be the third use case that I can, think about right here. So yeah, 3 2.0 ports that allow for such types of dongles that do not require high-speed data. The other 2, like I mentioned, are 10 gigabits, and yeah, they support your USB-C or USB-A style drives and whatnot. Okay, so anything that requires high speed, then you would use these 2. Now on the other side is where it gets a little bit more interesting, because you get a power delivery port, USB-C, that supports up to 100 watts, and this is where their Novu 120 watt charger comes in handy, because their USB-C 1 port supports up to 100 watts, so it would make a perfect match for this one. So going on, this is only for powering your device, and it will power your laptop when you connect it to the one USB-C port. So if your MacBook, for example, has the USB-C charging port and you also want the additional ports, then this is where you get 2 birds with the same stone. Okay, so you also get a 3.2 USB-C port that supports up to 10 gigabits of transfer speeds as well. You get 2 memory card readers, one for a full size and one for a micro SD, also called a TF card. I don't know who calls them TF, but all the ports always say TF. Anyway, I digress. One of the questions that comes up every time you see these kinds of readers is whether or not you can use 2 memory cards at the same time, and the answer is yes. I did test it, and you can read a full-size SD card as well as a micro SD card at the same time. You can use both of them with no issues. Now you also get 3 display output ports. Now there are 2 HDMI ports and 1 VGA port. So if you have one of those old monitors that you want to use, then this is the way to go. Now the resolutions and refresh rates for these ports are as follows. The VGA port, regardless of the combination of monitors that you use, VGA will always only output up to 1080p 60. So 1080p resolution, 60 Hz refresh rates. That is the maximum that this VGA port supports. Now, as for the HDMI 1 and 2, the first one supports up to 4K 60, and the second one supports up to 4K 30. Now, this is all supposing that you connect only one display. As you start combining displays, the output is a little bit different. Like I mentioned, the VGA will always be 1080p 60 regardless of the combinations, but as for the HDMI, when you combine 2 HDMI ports, they both will output up to 4K 30. So you lose the 60 Hz on the HDMI 1 when you connect 2 or more displays. If you connect HDMI 1 along with the VGA, you get 4K 30 with the 1080p 60. And the same with HDMI 2 and the VGA, you get 4K 30 with the 1080p 60. And if you connect all 3 displays, the VGA along with the 2 HDMIs, all of the 3 displays will be 1080p 60. So yeah, like I mentioned, despite the very affordable price, this provides actually a lot of value, because you get a ton of ports, you get 3 displays if you happen to have a VGA port, the memory card reader, the power delivery for charging, high-speed USB-C, and 2 high-speed USB-As. Now, one thing worth mentioning, this is not a Thunderbolt dock, so the maximum transfer speed of this single cable or the whole device would be 10 gigabits. This means that even though each of the ports, these 2 right here and this one right here, they all support 10 gigabits, because the bandwidth total is 10 gigabits, it means that the 3 devices are going to be competing for that bandwidth, or they're going to be sharing the 10 gigabits bandwidth. Okay, so don't expect it to be 30 gigabits because you get 3 ports of 10 gigabits each. And finally, it is also worth mentioning that your computer, whether it's a Mac or a Windows, has to support display output via USB-C for the display ports right here, the HDMI and the VGA ports to work. So yeah, again, this is it for the Novo USB dock. I also like that it feels very premium. It is made of metal. It feels pretty hefty, very nice build, excellent feel in the hands. So again, for the low price that they charge for this device, I'm actually very surprised and very pleased at how much value it provides. So this is it for this video. I hope that it was helpful. I hope to see you in the next one. And until then, may God bless you all.